So, going down a little further, we again wanted 33% from the minimum use, 67% from actual use. And I know you're all waiting for the bottom line more than anything else. Getting down here to the bottom, what does that mean? With $6 million in debt, the average customer being billed 3,300 gallons of water per month, sliding over to the right, would put a minimum bill, currently, by the way, let's see, you are at $11.50 and $14.85 for your user rate. With $6 million in debt, your minimum would, one possibility would be a minimum of $19.12. That would be the basic charge every month. And a user rate of $8.92. And that would be based on water used, for a total bill of $48.56. If you went to $6.5 million, user rate, base rate could be $19.76 with a user rate of $9.29 for a total bill of $50.41.
No, that's assuming the old charge. That's not the additional cost. That's what a new average bill would be.
That would be the new average bill.
Could I have a question?
Sure.
One thing that concerns me a little bit is we're running this out 30 years. They say the average lifespan of a plant is 20 years.
Correct.
We would certainly be more than happy to run you 20 years so you can see what it looks like. We just happened to grab 30. SRF used to only loan for 20. And for whatever reason, they decided now to start loaning for 30. Partly because probably the equipment may be a little better.
Okay.
And a lot of people do expect it to last 30 years. Reality to me is 20 is probably a little bit more likely. In 20 years, your concrete tanks will probably still be fine. In 20 years, the mechanical equipment, the pumps and things like that, probably will have been rebuilt at least twice. And that would fall under O&M. So depending on the things that are out there, some of it may last a long time, others of it may have been replaced a few times. So that really is a decision for you folks to think about, because you're absolutely right. It's like buying a car and putting it on a 9-year loan. Will you ever get it paid off? Probably not. Probably the car won't make the loan length.
What do the rest of you think? Do you think you want to see something different?
I'd like to see it just as a comparison. I really would.
Or even 25?
I think we got to go worst case. Go 20/20, compare apples with apples at first.
We could certainly do that. And I can run that and I'll email it up so you can see it. And we're willing to run by the way, any scenario that you folks would like to look at, let us know. We'll be glad to run it.
Well, another thing to look at is that the current building there is already 25 to 30 years old. Will it last another 30 years?
That's correct.
30 years old.
In my opinion, if you take care of it, and you keep a roof on it, and you keep it caulked, and you keep it painted, yeah, I think it's reasonable to think it will last another 30 years. It was a well-built building when it was started. It has got some problems today. We aim to try to remedy those problems with this upgrade. And when I say problems, I mean like structural issues. But we'd like to get in there and get that fixed. And part of this project was to put a new roof on that building. The roof currently leaks. First, quickest way to destroy a building is let the roof leak. That's another part of what we would be hoping and trying to get fixed. And in fact, we will get fixed. The structural issues, we'd like those remedies as well. But I don't think it's unreasonable to think it would last. If you'd like to look at the second option, in this option, we took the same amount of SRF loan, and we, in 100% 100% put it to property tax. And you notice that it will be a little bit different. You'll notice on the bottom end of this thing, we were talking $37 to $40 a month in tax on a $100,000 house. This would 100% be on taxes, nothing on revenue. So we went from one extreme to the other. 100% revenue, now we're 100% taxes. And if you look down through here, you will find, this one's a little shorter, for a home valued at 100%, $100,000, the annual tax would be about $443.72 for $6 million SRF loan, or right around $37 a month. For $6.5 million, it's about $40 a month. You notice that is a little different than the rate run of rates. That's largely because you have more taxpayers than you have ratepayers, meaning that you may have some property in town that is taxed that currently doesn't have water service. It may be an empty lot, it may be any number of things. One other thing to think about, to make this more confusing, is you do also have commercial people in town. One way to shift some of that burden away, maybe from the fixed income folks who don't use much water, is to reduce the base rate and increase the rate based on water usage. Now, there is a risk with that. If people's water bills start to go up, they may use less water, and therefore your rates may have to be increased because you use less water. With taxes, it's not so much volatility like that. However, again, the caveat here is, remember, the state rolls back your taxes every year to a certain degree. That's all based on how much how much the state will roll back your taxes. So, gone to the tax extreme. Let's go to the...
Well, on that tax scheme, when you say $100,000, is that taxable valuation or just valuation?
Taxable valuation of the home.
That would be...
At a, I believe he ran it at a...
It's not the assessor's value, is it?
Okay,
Right.
That's the rollback price.
That's correct.
Okay.
Another thing worth noting there is also property taxes being tax deductible to a federal income purpose,
That is
whereas
correct.
rate increases are not. So it's something else. I just thought it was worth notifying.
That's absolutely correct. To answer your question a little bit too, the reason we picked $100,000 is it's simple to calculate. And it's easy for you to figure out. If you have a $40,000 evaluation, it's going to be 4/10 of that amount of money. So
I would take a guess of the average valuation in this town is not $100,000.
I would agree.
I'd say it's probably closer to 40 or 50.
I would agree.
But will that change the revenue stream?
No, it was the revenue stream was based on that taxable valuation on that sheet number 3.
No, the total is not.
You got it. Any other questions on that? Rigmarole? Now we'll look at the third possible scenario that we ran, and this was to equalize the water and sewer rates, and then make up the difference in a tax levy. You see a lot of the same things here. We ran $6 million and $6.5 million, and as you run down through here,
What table number is that?
oh, I'm sorry,
6.
table 6, be the last
On the bottom,
page.
Last one.
Last page. Your current water assessment, or water rate, is $8.75 base for the meter, and $6.75 for every 1,000 gallons used. And we ran that number, and we get down here to the bottom, and we find that the tax portion of this would go to about $15.58 on a monthly basis for $6.5 million, $12.50 a month based on $6 million.